The car. Got Jeremy doing a little dyno.
What's going on, everybody? Our live vlog this week, like we mentioned, we're going to be doing an example of our flex fuel. So right now we have a Trackhawk that has our level 1.5 package. And normally on this package we don't need a bleed boost because boost is safe for you know, both pumps or both fuel types. But I implemented the settings for a higher boosted application to where you're going to see. So right now we're literally at 10%, and I'm going to get this set up here. We're just going to do a quick little pull. I'm not going to bring it to red line. We're just going to probably go to just past 5,500 so you guys can see. All right, and then basically what we're going to do, we're not going to cut the camera. I'm going to do a pull. You're going to see what boost is. And then we're going to simply just add E80 or E98 to the tank, let the car run. Chulo's going to do the updates, and we're just going to sit back in, no tuning, laptop's not even hooked up, and then you're going to see how boost changes. This is how our true flex fuel works, okay? Nobody else can do this except us. So here we go. 6-gear pull, red, you know, there's no black or red key, so no trickery. This is our true flex fuel work. So, as you saw, 3-4 pounds of boost at most. So that's safe, right? If you have a car that's pulleyed to 24 pounds of boost, you know, and you're on pump gas, you don't want to see that, right? Now you don't have to worry, 3, 4, 5 pounds of boost. So the truck just made 418 to the wheels, for example. So super safe, obviously, on pump gas. So I'm not going to shut the truck off. I'm going to dump fuel in it. Chulo's going to walk around, show you what we got going on. And then we're going to sit back in. Once the blend takes, then we're going to do it again. So no, not shutting it off, no tuning adjustments. So go ahead, Chulo.
Again, that's the ethanol we're starting at. All right, let's see what we got here. Woo, look at this little green thing. Wade wants to see all the boost. Here's the boost, Wade. Here's the boost on a Wrangler. Woohoo! That green is so pretty. I cannot get enough. There's our single-size clutch pulley. We got our Turo on it. It's in good hands. Yeah. We got a little Trackhawk here. Let's take a look underneath. What's that? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. TTs, turbos, turbo Trackhawk. Ain't nothing better. We're gonna have a ripper here. Built motor, everything good. This is gonna be a stout street truck. Speaking of street trucks, let's go take a look at our single turbo TRX over here. Woo-hoo. Look at that 80. What a thing of beauty. Finishing up Willwood conversion with these 20-inch welds. Very gorgeous setup. This thing is gonna be a unit. Got another TRX over here. This one, you can see some exhaust parts. Also getting turbos. Another Helion turbo kit. So we got that Trackhawk, we got this one. Have another Trackhawk coming in. 2024 is the year of the turbo. So this is gonna be a stout vehicle. On them raised wheels. Such a sexy wheel for a sexy truck. This clean RT back in. You know, a little fuel system diagnostics on it. Let's take a look at what we're working with. Ooh, pretty. Just a real nice, clean NA with spray setup. Fancy. What else we got? Oh, we had some pulleys come back. Some pulleys come back from coating. Remember, Grip Tech coated pulleys, clutch pulleys, Whipple, stock 2.7, stock 2.4. We make them. Come and get them. Same thing. Valve covers, they're starting to show back up from anodization. Oh, God, look at that. Gotta love it. Gotta love it, man. Let's see what else. We got some tires coming in. We do stock tires. if you need tires for this upcoming season, let us know before they run out. Season's kind of starting to begin. Tires are going to be in short supply. Let us know before it's too late. Got Jeremy putting that gas in. Ooh, we still got some in there. Another van in for a detail. Satera Auto Detailing. And then out here, we got this beautiful Scat Pack that came in. Pro Charger upgrade to a D1X. Then he opted for the ceramic coat. Look at that. Thing is glossy. Let's take a look at that real quick. Let Jeremy finish feeling up that Jeep. Don't want to get it dirty. Matt will kill me. Gorgeous, gorgeous setup. Beautiful car. See what else we got. Shop truck still sitting pretty. Jeremy's motioning to come in. So let's go take a look. Let's see what she does now with a proper tank of E in there.
Alright. Yep. So this is perfect. So if you want to show them. So I just put 10 gallons of E85 in here. So this is anybody out there that has a inferred logic, flex fuel, or anything along those lines. As you see, we are down to almost empty. We actually drained the fuel out of this car completely and only poured 1 gallon back in. So now we have 10 gallons of 85 in there. And as you can see, it doesn't hit right away, right? This is why this is so important. Our ethanol gauge is tapped into the fuel rail. So exactly what is spraying out of the injectors is what is, you know, being relayed into the computer. So this is why it is so important. You don't necessarily want to pull out, because what you're going to see is I'm going to start to go through, so you can keep it down there. I'm going to start accelerating, and it may take a bit, but you're going to see that number start to go up, and that's because this was idling for a while, but you'll see it take a little bit. So this is a great simulation where I'm just cruising at 40 miles an hour, so you guys will see. We'll be able to talk a little bit, see if anybody's asking questions about how it works. But we're cruising at 40, 45 miles an hour, and as you see, that ethanol is not changing. So you got to make sure this is the same as it goes if you're on E85 and you switch to pump gas, right? So you don't necessarily want, you need to make sure that there's something there that's going to be able to read exactly what ethanol is in your tank. So now what we do to kind of speed it up, obviously idle injector pulse width is pretty small. So I'll start giving it some boost.
Climb.
There you go. Now it's starting to go up. So now the ethanol is starting to make its way through the fuel system. So now we're going to steady cruise again. We're going to see that number rise. Give it a little more boost. Woo! Steady cruise. So you can just see how long it takes for this ethanol to make its way through the fuel system. Now we're starting to get into our happy number. So generally the way we do this, right around 60% is where I start to ramp in the power a little more aggressively, and we'll start to see boost come back.
That 60 number.
There you go. So Tula, if you even want to come over, you can look at the boost gauge now, just as a little teaser. So we're at 64%. Whoop, what's that?
10 pounds.
10 pounds. So automatically right there, we're not even all the way up yet, and we have our boost where we need it. Alright, now we're going to be ready to do a pull. Now this is also something that's extremely important. So I'm going to start the pull under 70%. So Tula, go ahead and show them what that is.
67.3.
Alright, so now I'm going to start the pull. Come on over, look at the boost. Ready? Alright, so you saw all the boost came back, and now look at the ethanol content. It went up. Inferred logic is not going to be able to pick that up. keep that in mind. So we went from 67 to 70, and then if this were to keep going up to 75 and 80 during a pull, inferred logic will not be able to pick that up. Our flex fuel will. So again, if you're cruising around and you just fill up on, you know, ethanol, and you're at 70%, or let's say you're at 85%, and you get a bad tank of gas, right? A bad tank of E85 where it drops to 67%, you're relying on a math equation to adjust the tune accordingly. I will tell you that a tune for 80-85% should be very different than that of 65-70%. Ours is the only one that can encompass everything, even during a pull, after filling up or changing your fuel. So just as an example. So we'll go ahead and shut this off.
What's
it made 803 to the wheels. So that was actually the first pull on E85. So I don't have a computer hooked up, so I'll do another one to verify. But let's head into the office and we'll do could you, should you, and
let's go.
Wrap this up.
Again, this green. I cannot tell you guys enough how beautiful this green is. Oh, you just got to see it in person. Let's go in.
Real quick.
Yeah.
So no tune changes, just pump gas.
No tune change.
And technically 70% ethanol. So you know, if that ethanol goes up, the way our flex fuel is designed, it will make even more power on top of it. So what we'll do is we'll spike the concentration even more, and then it's going to make more power without me doing anything. So let's go ahead and see. It's a little cold out here.
It's freezing. Whether we just have, God, horrible, horrible, horrible environment we live in. All right. I'm the worst.
It's weird on the phone. It's showing up. Okay, let's stay close. So, as we were saying, so supporting mods for Drivetrain. It's been a little bit more. It's fine.
Yeah.
So basically, what it is an example. You know, should I, if I could throw a radial on my stock Drivetrain Hellcat?
Yeah.
Should I, or could I just run it with a radial without upgrading anything?
Stock drive shaft,
stock drive shaft, axles, you know, no supporting mods at all, just run that. The answer is, we have a lot of people that do it. It is going to be based on your power level. It also it is dependent on the model as well, right? Generally, the earlier models do need a little bit of help. The one thing we always throw in right away is a diff brace by Performance. The DRS is a requirement. Wheel hop is the killer of everything, and those soft bushings they put on from the factory, that makes it a little more difficult. So definitely want to reinforce that at a minimum. I have a lot of customers that, you know, with depending on the power level again, where they run stock axles and drive shafts for a good while. I will say the red eye drive shafts and axles are a little beefier than the prior versions, so those are a nice little budget friendly pickup if you can. But you don't have to. So I'll use Blake Mushin as an example. His Charger, his red eye, he's run mid-9s for I don't know how long. He finally did break his drive shaft. But he went a very long time. I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens of passes on that stock axle, stock drive shaft setup. Paul Rakowski, he went to a 1-piece drive shaft, had a vibration. So he went to the race down in Texas, swapped in his factory drive shaft, was running 880s on a factory 2-piece drive shaft. So red eye's very stout. They can live for a good while. So you can. Absolutely, you can. It's just understand the risk. There will be a failure at some point, especially as the power level goes up. So it's not required. You have to run in, you know, a full drag AED kit in the back and, you know, a DSC controller and a bunch of all that stuff. Just at a minimum, a diff brace. As the power goes up, it's very beneficial to upgrade other things, but it's not necessary. So could you? Yeah, should you? Go for it, but just understand there is a higher risk there. It might break. So.
What else we got? Also, should you, could you? I've had some people contact me asking about diff bushings. If you have a diff brace, do you really need aftermarket, you know, tighter diff bushings, or is it kind of, you know, the diff brace takes care of that?
Good question. I will be honest, since, I mean, even on my shop car, I have never changed diff bushings. Now, race car application, absolutely you want solid everything, but for the street cars that we build, a little bit of rubber in there still is good to help absorb vibrations and a little bit of excessive twisting. So the diff brace is, you know, all we normally recommend for majority of our street cars, the AED drag kit on top of it. That's exactly what my Charger had, you know, that went 850s on medium boost. So it still had the stock diff bushings in there. That diff brace really locks things in place. So again, race application, absolutely. For a street car, I don't see a need for it. That's just what we've seen from our customer base. I've never installed any type of aftermarket or solid bushing in the differential itself.
Maybe not a should you, could you, but the DSC controllers. What thoughts?
I got to piggyback on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you? Absolutely. Should you? It doesn't hurt in any way. I've never seen a negative effect from it. We, again, had it on the shop car. We did some beta testing for it on the Trackhawk platform. And same thing, I've never seen a negative impact from it. I still have a ton of people cutting killer 60-foots without it? Absolutely, but you will see a more consistent 60-foot launch and everything with the installation of it. So it's one of those. It's for whatever 12 to 1400, depending on what it's going for at the time. It's a nice upgrade for anybody that does freak with the track and might have altering track conditions, because, like I said, what it did for my setup is the consistency. Even if the prep wasn't
very noticeable.
There.
It was huge. Let's see, should you, could you? Cradle lockouts or cradle bushings?
Again, based on application. So that's not a could you, should you, that's just which is better. So majority of our builds, again, we do just lockouts. So it doesn't remove the full bushing itself. You remove the insert and then you put a stiffer insert in it. So there's still a little bit of rubber in place. Again, great for a street car application. Race car, solid all the way. When it comes to that, you want to transfer all the energy to the tire so it progresses forward. You don't want to have any type of slop or anything anywhere, so that's where solid bushings come into play. But street car, again, our shop car, the Hellcat with the twins on it, that one was just a lockout. It was not anything different from that.
Speaking of the shop car, because I have a lot of people, hit me up asking about it. What was that rear suspension setup that was able to, cut those? Yeah. Like a crazy 9-inch, or what was?
No, it was so my shop car, though, probably not ideal for the application, but I had basically the factory, just a normal 309 rear end, the performance diff brace, the AD drag kit, and that was it on a 15-inch tire. So the car weighed 4,500 pounds at a minimum, depending at any given time before I sat in it. So right around 4,700 pounds was the race weight that she averaged. And we got it down with the boost controller settings to high 1.2, low 1.3, 60 foots consistently. So that was it. Sure, is there an area of opportunity if I were to progress and dive into it further? But obviously I had the DSC controller like we talked about. But other than that, there is an area, again, if you're going to that race car route, there are other options that are available. But it was a street car that drove that thing around all the time.
It drove great. It was for what it was shocking. That thing was.
So that, like I said, we really like to focus on the comfort and reliability of everything with it. So
it's nice people to actually enjoy your car rather than just being trailered to the track. It's fun driving them, man.
Yeah, we trailered it, but I'd be confident in that car to drive it on street tires and swap it at the track. It just gets old sometimes, so that's why we trailered it, and just in case. But
maybe not a should you, could you, but it is a good question that affects a lot of what we do. Vacuum leaks and O2 sensor issues, causes and effects, and how that can relate to tuning.
Oh, great. Oh, yes. Great question. So I'd say, a lot of the remote tunes that I do, I'd say over half of them end up where I notice an exhaust leak or vacuum leak. So what do they do when it comes to tuning, and how does it affect not only the vehicle but the tuning process? So what we call it is false air. So there's two ways you can get false air readings. Understand that normal driving around on Hellcats and non-Hellcats in any vehicle, it utilizes the O2 sensors for fueling correction. Part of the tuning process is we are trying to essentially dial in that fueling so the corrections are minimal. That's where drivability comes from, fuel economy, and so on and so forth. So we try to get those corrections very small. Now, if you have false air, we'll start with an exhaust leak. So a pinhole at the header flange or at the clamp that's right next to where an O2 is, it's leaking. That air, false air, gets over the O2 sensor, creating a lean condition. Now, when it's exhaust related, generally the symptoms we see are very luggy, stalling issues, because what's happening is that O2 is going, oh, I need to add more fuel, but there's not actually more air going inside the engine. So once it dumps the extra fuel in, the car struggles and chugs. And then what happens is it's progressive, because that O2 sensor, although the fuel from the exhaust mixture is going by it, there's false air getting in that's skewing that. It will continue to just add fuel, and you'll fall plugs out, it'll run horrible, misfires will start. So if you have a car where you're seeing a lean condition, but it struggles to run, chugs, stalls coming to a stop, you notice black smoke or fouling plugs out, that usually is an exhaust leak. On the flip side, we have the intake or vacuum leak. What we see with that is false air in a sense of that's post throttle body. So a vacuum leak will be after the throttle body getting into the actual combustion chamber. So, you know, you have your designated commanded fuel, and then this extra air is getting in, which is then going to cause the O2 sensor to go, oh, it's lean, I need to add fuel. Now the difference here is there's actual air getting into the combustion chamber. So while that O2 is adding air and there's this false air getting in, you're gonna see usually higher idles, ghost throttles, and not necessarily that your plugs are gonna be fouled out because there's actual air going in the system, but the negative on it is we command a certain idle, for example, or in park in drive. Well, if that idle can't come down, what a car is going to do is going to try to close the throttle to its limit, and then it's going to, you know, retard timing to try and bring that idle down. What a lot of people don't realize is the negative effects when you have timing retarded too far. So, pending the tune and how you have it tuned, if you're, you know, from the factory, they can go down to minus 20 degrees plus. That's going to turn your headers glowing red. And you know, it's one of those where you know the idle isn't going to come down. So you know, these are things that you have to consider not only when you build a car or go for a dyno, but also when you're remote tuning. For us as tuners, it creates nightmares, right? Because we're relying on these settings. That's why we tell everybody a vehicle has to be mechanically sound for us to be able to tune it, because that becomes a mechanical issue. That there's nothing in a tune that can fix that. You know, we can assist and tell you where we see it, whether, you know, which bank it is. You know, you get one bank lean, one bank rich, that's usually an exhaust leak. But sometimes if the leak is at the intake gasket, it could be just from that one cylinder. But, you know, it's a good tuner will be able to identify and help you, but do understand it's not their fault. They can't fix it with the tune, especially if something was running okay for a while and then, you know, it ends up changing, right? Tunes don't change. If you had a car that was running good and then all of a sudden something is different, computers don't change like that over time.
Tunes don't go bad?
They don't go bad.
Whoa,
It's crazy, right?
what?
Even when the battery's disconnected, it's weird. But
no way.
Yeah, it's crazy. So do keep that in mind, right? Do keep that in mind that, you know, that you need to help your tuner by making sure it's mechanically sound. There, a lot of tuners, we are mechanical and we know how to do that stuff. And a lot of tuners aren't. They're just very good with understanding engine dynamics and how they work and can tune a computer. So it's one of those, you can't get upset or rely on your tuner to help fix those issues for you. But yeah, that's how it affects tuning. And it can get frustrating for both the end user who's being tuned and the tuner itself, because for me, I just want to help. I just want to get this car dialed in. I want you to enjoy it. And naturally, when there's things like that in the way, you know, it will prolong these tuning procedures. And it can be very frustrating. Just remember, don't take it out on the tuner if they're just coming in to try and help you out. It's not always the tuner's fault. So, but that was a very good question.
Could you carbon fiber drive shaft on a street car?
Great one. Should you or could you? Yeah, you can. You can do whatever you want to do. You know, it's your money, your car. Should you? No, I never recommend, and I even try to talk people out of it. And I've seen it firsthand, and the reason why. So racing, carbon fiber, lightweight, strong. Absolutely. You want to save every bit you can in weight, especially rotating mass. The negative, carbon fiber is brittle. So you have a street-driven vehicle where there's rocks, debris, animals you might run over. Anything in the road that could essentially cause damage to that drive shaft. I've literally seen them explode. They lose their integrity very quick. You know, if there's a big rock
kick up or something like that, it just, you know, they're great when they're new, that you got good strength there, but once something compromises that, it just goes downhill real fast. And for the price,
right.
I'm going aluminum on my street car.
Yeah, and you know, something we see too, you know, especially when you don't have solid bushings in the back. You know, you put it in and it looks good. You have real close heat shields, exhaust, you make a lot of torque. Stuff moves that you don't know during acceleration.
When you don't have lockouts.
Right, braking. You need lockouts for a single piece no matter what, at a minimum. But just driving, things move. So the amount of times we've seen where people put a carbon fiber drive shaft in and then bring it in and it's damaged because it rubbed on a heat shield. That's the type of stuff we're talking about. Then you go out and cut a 125 60 foot, that thing's going to explode. So street application, it's not the best idea. We do not recommend it. I know people do it. I just think, you know, the pros and cons there. I don't think the pros outweigh what potentially could happen, because man, it hurts when that $1,700-$1,800 drive shaft explodes on you because it rubbed on your exhaust once and lost its integrity. So, so that's a good one.
Could you ported intake manifold?
Good one. So this is going to the NA, 392s, 57s, anything like that. Could you? Absolutely. We see it all the time. I tune it on probably a daily basis. Should you? Only if it fits your application. So similar to exhaust, not only is it important to be able to get as much air into the combustion chamber as you want, but you need velocity. You need to allow that air to move quickly. And the problem is if you open up things too much, you lose the velocity. Remember, you're relying on a piston on an NA application to move downward and barometric pressure to push everything inside. And if you slow down that path, if you make it too big, it actually creates turbulence. It also slows down the air going into it. And I've seen negative impacts from ported throttle bodies or larger throttle bodies and ported intake manifolds. Even on cam applications, I have tested it. I have back-to-back dyno pulls where we just swapped an intake manifold that was ported with a bigger throttle body where power was lost. One of those, if you rev it to 8,000 RPM, different story, but you do run into limitations at the bottom end and what you can actually do.
It's Gen 3 Hemi. It's, you know.
Right. So application specific, there are benefits for it. The blue RT you saw out there, that is one of our high compression 392 builds. He has a ported 6.1 intake on it, and he actually needs more intake. So we're 3D printing. We're going to be 3D printing intake manifolds for this specific reason, where we can change runner length and adjust the port on it as well to maintain the velocity that's needed in any given RPM to match the cam. So a lot of variables that go in it. I will tell you, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Chris Mitchell, he holds the stock bottom end 392 Charger record with a 10.8 pass. He has a stock throttle body and a stock intake manifold. I can tell you there's a lot of people out there going a lot slower with bigger throttle bodies and ported intake manifolds. That's because it's all spec correctly. So it's about the recipe. It's about all the ingredients going in. It's not just grab what you want off a shelf and throw it together and hope it tastes good, right? You got to have a specifics to the recipe to make it work. So there is an application that benefits from it, but not majority of them.
I guess one nitrous on compound boost. You want all of it, all the power adder.
Why not? I mean, it's all horsepower based, right? The goal is to get as much oxygen inside the combustion chamber and then have enough fuel to match it to make horsepower. So that's one of those. If you're hitting a wall because of your setup, then go for it. Now,
also into that wet or dry shot.
Well, okay, we'll piggyback onto that. Right. And in regards to the compound boost, I really don't think nitrous is necessary in any way, shape, or form. It's really hard to hit the wall with the capability. I mean, we've seen cars make 1,1600 plus to the wheels out of it. So if you need more than that, you probably just want to take the blower out of the equation. But sure, I mean, could you? Yeah, should you? I don't see a need on a compound setup. But Roger, if you want to, we'll do it. That's fine. Wait. And then what was the other question? It was a good one.
309 or 370 on a Hemi?
Oh, dry shot, wet shot.